I came home early from my business trip and found my fiancée's car in the driveway next to my brother's truck. Weird. They barely tolerated each other. I'd been dating Celeste for 3 years. We'd been engaged for 4 months. In all that time, she and my brother had maybe exchanged 20 sentences total. She thought he was immature. He thought she was uptight. Their interactions at family dinners were polite at best, icy at worst. So why was his truck here on a Tuesday afternoon? I sat in my rental car for a minute, engine idling. The flight from Denver had been delayed twice, and I'd been fantasizing about my own bed for 6 hours. My key card hadn't worked at the hotel, so the conference organizers put me in a room 2 floors down. That's why I'd left early. Nothing sinister about it. I walked up the porch steps slowly. Through the front window, I could see movement in the living room. 2 figures, close together. My heart started doing something strange. Not racing exactly, more like stuttering, like it couldn't decide whether to speed up or stop entirely. I opened the front door. Celeste was sitting on the couch, her face buried in her hands. My brother stood near the fireplace, arms crossed. When they heard the door, both of them froze. "You're back," Celeste said. Her voice cracked. "Flight got canceled." I lied. I don't know why I lied. "What's going on here?" My brother looked at Celeste. Celeste looked at the floor. The silence stretched so long I could hear the kitchen faucet dripping. "Someone needs to tell me something," I said. "Right now." My brother exhaled slowly. "It's about the wedding." "What about it?" Celeste finally looked up. Her mascara was smeared under her eyes. She'd been crying. "I found something," she whispered. "In your email." My stomach dropped. "You went through my email?" "Your laptop was open. A notification popped up." I wasn't snooping, but I saw her name. Her name. The room tilted slightly. "Who's Renata?" my brother asked. His voice was dangerously calm. I felt the blood drain from my face. "Renata. We'd worked together at the Denver office 2 years ago, before I proposed, before I was even serious about Celeste. It had been nothing. A few months of late nights in hotel rooms during conferences. I'd ended it completely when I realized I wanted to marry Celeste. "She's no one," I said. "The email says otherwise." Celeste's voice had gone cold. "She's asking if you're still coming to her place after the Tucson presentation next month. She called you baby. That email is old. It's dated last week." The floor seemed to shift under my feet. Last week? That was impossible. I hadn't spoken to Renata in over a year. I'd deleted her number, blocked her on everything. "Let me see it," I said. My brother stepped forward. "Maybe you should sit down first." "I don't want to sit down. I want to see my own email." Celeste handed me her phone. She'd taken a screenshot. The email was there, clear as day. From Renata's work address, dated 6 days ago. The message was short. "Can't wait for Tucson. Miss you, baby. Your room or mine this time." But I hadn't sent anything. I hadn't received anything. This email didn't exist in my inbox. "This isn't real," I said slowly. "Someone's setting me up." My brother laughed bitterly. "That's your defense? Someone hacked your email to send fake messages from your ex?" "She's not my ex. We were never—" I stopped. Wrong move. Celeste's eyes had gone wide. "Never what?" she asked quietly. "Never official? Never serious? What exactly were you never with her?" I couldn't breathe. Everything was spiraling. I needed to think, but my brain felt like it was filled with static. That's when my phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from an unknown number. I pulled it out and read the message. My blood went cold. "Who is it?" my brother asked. I looked up at him, then at Celeste, then back down at my phone. The text read, "Did you really think I'd let you marry her? This is just the beginning." My hands were shaking. I turned the phone around so they could both see the screen. Celeste's face went pale. My brother uncrossed his arms and took a step closer. "What the hell?" he muttered. "I told you," I said. "Someone's setting me up." "This isn't Renata. Someone is doing this." Celeste stood up from the couch. Her legs looked unsteady. "Who would do that? Who would go through all this trouble?" I didn't have an answer. My mind was racing through possibilities. Co-workers, old friends, people I'd wronged somehow without realizing it. But none of it made sense. Who would fabricate emails? Who would time this so perfectly? "We need to call the police," my brother said. "And tell them what?" I asked. "Someone sent me a threatening text. They'll file a report and nothing will happen." "Then what do you want to do?" I looked at Celeste. Her arms were wrapped around herself like she was trying to hold herself together. 4 months ago, I'd gotten down on one knee in her parents' backyard, and she'd cried and said yes before I even finished the question. Now she was looking at me like I was a stranger. "Do you believe me?" I asked her. She didn't answer immediately. That hesitation cut deeper than anything else. "I want to believe you," she finally said. "But that email looked real, and you admitted there was something with her before." "There was, 2 years ago, before I proposed. I ended it because I chose you. You never told me about her, because it was over. It didn't matter. It matters now." My phone buzzed again. Another text from the same unknown number. "Check your email, the new one." My brother was reading over my shoulder. "Don't," he said. "Don't engage with whoever this is." But I was already pulling up my email app. There it was at the top of my inbox. A new message. This time, from my own email address to Renata, sent 3 minutes ago. The subject line read, "Can't wait to see you." I opened it. The message was brief. "Celeste is getting suspicious. We need to be more careful. Delete this after reading. Love you." "I didn't write that," I said. "I didn't send that. Someone has access to my account." Celeste was reading over my other shoulder now. When she finished, she stepped back. "Someone has access to your email," she repeated flatly. "Someone is sending messages pretending to be you, to a woman you used to sleep with, and this is all just a coincidence." "It's not a coincidence. It's deliberate. Someone is trying to destroy us. Why? Why would anyone do that? I didn't know. I genuinely didn't know. My brother pulled out his own phone. I'm calling the cops. This is harassment at minimum. Maybe stalking. Wait, I said. Let me think. Think about what? Someone is messing with your life. You need to document this officially. He was right. I knew he was right. But something was nagging at me. The timing. The precision. Whoever was doing this knew my schedule. Knew I was in Denver. Knew about Renata. Knew enough to make it all look believable. This wasn't random. I need to call Renata, I said. Celeste's jaw tightened. Absolutely not. She might know something. If someone is using her email address too, she might have noticed something strange. A password reset. Unusual activity. Something. Or she's the one doing this. I shook my head. Renata wouldn't do this. She moved to Seattle 8 months ago. She's engaged to someone else. She has no reason to care about what I'm doing. How do you know she's engaged? The question hung in the air. I saw it on LinkedIn, I admitted, when I was cleaning up my professional contacts. That's it. I wasn't checking up on her. Celeste laughed, but there was no humor in it. You expect me to believe that? I expect you to trust me. After 3 years, trust is earned. And right now I'm looking at emails that suggest you've been lying to me for months. Those emails are fake. My voice came out louder than I intended. The neighbors could probably hear. I didn't care. My brother stepped between us. Okay, everyone calm down. This isn't helping. He was right. Fighting with Celeste wasn't going to solve anything. I took a deep breath. I'm going to prove this to you, I said. I don't know how yet, but I will. Someone is doing this, and I'm going to find out who. Another buzz, another text. She doesn't believe you. Smart woman. This is only going to get worse. I showed it to both of them. They're watching, my brother said quietly. They know what's happening in this room. We all looked toward the windows. The curtains were open. Anyone across the street would have a clear view of our living room. I walked to the window and pulled the curtains shut. My phone buzzed again. That won't help. A chill ran down my spine. We need to get out of here, my brother said. But Celeste was already grabbing her keys from the coffee table. I'm going to my parents' house, she said. I need to think. Celeste, please, don't. She held up a hand. I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm saying I need space. I need to process this without you standing right there looking at me like that. Like what? Like I'm the bad guy for having doubts. She walked to the door. I wanted to stop her, but my brother's hand was on my arm. Let her go, he said quietly. She needs time. Celeste paused at the door. Figure this out, she said without turning around. Figure out who's doing this and why. Because if you can't, I don't think I can marry you. The door closed behind her. I stood in the middle of my living room staring at the space where she'd been. My brother exhaled. Okay, let's think about this logically. Who has access to your email? Who knows about Renata? Who would benefit from destroying your relationship? I rubbed my temples. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Start with the obvious. Co-workers. Anyone at the Denver office who might have a grudge. I haven't worked in Denver for over a year. I transferred to the Chicago office when Celeste and I got serious. What about Renata's new fiancé? Maybe he found out about your history and decided to get revenge. Revenge for what? An old fling that ended before he was even in the picture? Some people are possessive. Maybe he wanted to make sure you stay away from her permanently. It seemed far-fetched, but nothing about this situation made sense. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered it. Hello? There was silence on the other end. Then a voice, distorted, mechanical, like it was being run through some kind of filter. You should have stayed in Denver. Who is this? You ruined everything. Now I'm going to ruin you. What are you talking about? What did I do? The line went dead. I lowered the phone. My brother was watching me with a mix of concern and fear. What did they say? That I should have stayed in Denver. That I ruined everything. Ruined what? I didn't have an answer. We spent the next hour trying to track the unknown number. It was a burner phone, untraceable without law enforcement involvement. My brother finally convinced me to file a police report. The officer who came to the house was young, probably early 20s. He took notes with a skeptical expression that made me want to scream. So someone's sending you threatening texts and fake emails, he summarized. But you don't know who, and you can't think of anyone who would want to do this. That's what I'm telling you. And your fiancée left because she thinks you might be having an affair. I'm not having an affair. The emails are fabricated. He scribbled something in his notebook. We'll look into it. In the meantime, I'd recommend changing all your passwords, enable two-factor authentication, and maybe consider counseling for you and your fiancé. Counseling? Relationship stress can sometimes manifest in someone is stalking me and you're suggesting therapy? My brother stepped in before I could say something I'd regret. Thank you, officer. We appreciate you coming out. After the cop left, I slumped onto the couch. That was useless, I muttered. We knew it would be. But now there's a paper trail. If this escalates, we have documentation. If this escalates, we need to assume it will. That night, I stayed at my brother's apartment. I couldn't sleep in my own house. Every creak, every shadow felt threatening. I kept my phone next to my pillow, waiting for another message. It came at 3:47 a.m. Can't sleep? Neither can I. I've been thinking about everything you took from me. I didn't respond. I just stared at the screen until my eyes burned. The next morning, I called in sick to work. My boss sounded annoyed, but I didn't care. I had bigger problems. I started making a list. Everyone who knew about Renata, everyone who had access to my work email, everyone who might have a reason to want my life destroyed. The list was distressingly short. My brother had to go to work, so I spent the day alone in his apartment, going through old emails, old texts, trying to find any clue. Around noon, my phone rang. A number I recognized. Renata. I hesitated, then answered. I just got the strangest email, she said without preamble. From you. Except it wasn't from you, was it? No. Someone's been sending fake emails from my account. They used my address too, to send something to you. Something I definitely did not write. I know. I saw it. There was a pause. What's going on? Is someone messing with both of us? I think so. I was hoping you might have some idea who. I haven't thought about you in months, no offense. None taken. Same here. So why would someone drag me into this? I'd been thinking about that all night. Because you're the perfect weapon. We had history. Using you makes the fake affair believable. Does your fiancé know about before? She does now. Oh, another pause. I'm sorry. For what it's worth, I'm not involved in this. I have no idea who would do something like this. I believe you. What about your end? Anyone who might want to hurt you? I went through my mental list again. I can't think of anyone. Think harder. Someone went through a lot of trouble. This isn't casual. This is personal. She was right. This level of planning required dedication. Obsession even. After we hung up, I sat with my head in my hands. Personal. Someone I'd personally wronged. But who? Around 3 in the afternoon, Celeste called. I'm at my parents' house, she said. I told them we're having problems. I didn't give them details. Thank you for not. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it because I don't want my mother calling your mother. Fair enough. Any progress? She asked. I talked to Renata. She's being targeted too. Someone used her email address to send the fake messages. Silence. So you called her to get information. She's as confused as I am. I'm sure. Celeste, please. I'm trying to figure this out. I know you are. It's just hard to hear you say her name so casually, like she's just some contact in your phone. She is. Now. Whatever she was before, she's nothing to me now. Then why did someone choose her specifically? Because it's the one thing that could hurt us. Whoever's doing this knows my history. They know what buttons to push. The call ended without resolution. Celeste said she needed more time. I said I understood, even though every fiber of my being wanted to drive to her parents' house and beg her to come home. That evening, my brother came home with takeout and a determined expression. I did some thinking at work, he said, about who would have access to your professional contacts and your personal schedule. And it has to be someone at your company, or someone connected to someone at your company. I've gone through the list. There's no one with a grudge big enough for this. What about IT? Someone with back-end access to the email servers. I hadn't thought of that. I don't know anyone in IT personally. You don't need to. If someone in IT was paid off, or if they had their own reasons, it was a long shot, but it was more than I had before. The next day I went into the office. My boss gave me a look when I walked in, clearly remembering my sick call, but I ignored him. I headed straight for the IT department. The guy at the front desk was about my age, with thick glasses and a coffee stain on his shirt. His nameplate read, Gordon Phelps. Hey, I said. I've been having some issues with my email. Strange messages, things I didn't send. Can you check the logs? Gordon looked up from his monitor. Strange messages? Yeah, like someone else is using my account. He frowned. That's a security issue. You should have reported this to your supervisor first. I'm reporting it now. Can you help me or not? He glanced around, then shrugged. Give me your employee ID. I watched as he typed, his fingers moving quickly across the keyboard. His frown deepened. Huh, he said. What? You've had some unusual login activity. Someone accessed your account from an IP address in... He squinted at the screen. Minneapolis. I've never been to Minneapolis. Figured. The access happened 3 times over the past 2 weeks. Each time, emails were sent and then deleted. Sent to who? He scrolled. Looks like someone named Renata Vasquez. I felt sick. Can you tell who did it? Can you trace it? Not from here. The IP is routed through a VPN. Whoever did this knew what they were doing. So we're at a dead end? Gordon hesitated. Not necessarily. The VPN might be anonymous, but whoever set this up needed your credentials. Phishing attack maybe. Or someone who had direct access to your device. Direct access. I thought about my laptop, sitting on my desk at home. The one Celeste had seen the email notification on. But Celeste wouldn't do this. That made no sense. Then who? I thanked Gordon and left, my mind racing. Someone with access to my laptop. Someone who could have installed something, taken my credentials without me knowing. I thought about everyone who'd been in my house over the past few months. Celeste, my brother, my parents when they visited for the engagement party, Celeste's parents, a few friends from work, the cable repair guy who'd come last month. That stopped me cold. The cable guy. I'd let him into the house, left him alone in the living room while I went to get water. My laptop had been on the coffee table. But why would a random cable technician target me? Unless he wasn't random. I called the cable company and asked about the technician who'd serviced my address last month. They put me on hold for 15 minutes before telling me they had no record of a service call at my address. My heart stopped. No record. No official technician. I'd let a stranger into my home. A stranger who'd had access to my laptop. I called my brother immediately. We need to go back to the house, I said. I think I know how they got in. We swept through the entire house. My brother found the first device behind the living room bookshelf. A small black box, no bigger than a matchbook, with a blinking light. Camera, he said grimly. We found 3 more. One in the kitchen, pointed at the back door. One in the bedroom, angled at the bed. One in my home office, focused on my desk. Whoever was doing this had been watching me for weeks. The police came again. This time, they took it more seriously. The devices were collected as evidence. Fingerprint text dusted surfaces. A detective asked me question after question about the fake cable technician. "Describe him again," she said. Detective Marlene Okonkwo, according to her badge. She was in her 40s, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. White male, maybe early 30s. Brown hair, regular height. Nothing memorable. He had a uniform and a work van. "Did you see a name on the uniform?" "It said the cable company's name. That's all I noticed." "Did he give you any paperwork?" I thought back. "He did. A service receipt." I threw it away. Detective Okonkwo made a note. "We'll check trash records, see if it's still in the system." After they left, my brother and I sat in the violated shell of my home. "This is insane," he said. "Someone installed cameras in your house, watched your life, and then used what they learned to destroy your relationship. But why? That's what we need to figure out." I went through everything again. The cable guy had come about 6 weeks ago. A few days after, I'd flown to Denver for a conference. That must have been when they'd accessed my laptop, but that still didn't explain who. The next morning, Detective Okonkwo called. "We got a hit on one of the camera devices," she said. "Serial number traces back to a bulk purchase made by a company called Clarity Consulting. Ring any bells?" It did. Clarity Consulting was the company that handled our corporate security training. They'd done workshops at the office for the past 3 years. "I know them," I said slowly. "They work with my employer. We're going to need access to your company's records, employee lists, particularly anyone who might have worked closely with both you and this consulting firm." My boss was not happy when the police showed up at the office. But when Detective Okonkwo explained the situation, his annoyance turned to concern. "Someone's been stalking one of my employees? It appears so. We need to identify anyone who might have had both access to the consulting firm's equipment and personal information about the victim." They pulled records, meeting schedules, attendee lists for the security workshops, and that's when I saw the name, Dmitry Lasko. I'd completely forgotten about him. Dmitry had joined the company about 2 years ago, right around the time I was ending things with Renata. He'd been assigned to my team for a special project. Quiet guy, kept to himself, did his work without complaint. Then, about 18 months ago, there'd been an incident. Dmitry had developed an obsession with Renata. He'd never met her in person, but he'd seen her on a video call we'd had with the Denver office. After that, he'd started researching her, found her social media, started sending her messages. Harmless at first, then increasingly intense. Renata had reported it to HR. Dmitry was given a formal warning and mandatory counseling. He'd seemed fine after that. Apologetic, even. 6 months later, he was quietly let go during a round of layoffs. Budget cuts, they said. But everyone knew the truth. I hadn't thought about him since. "Dmitry Lasko," I said to Detective Okonkwo. "He used to work here. He was obsessed with the woman someone is using to frame me." The detective's eyes sharpened. "Tell me everything." I did. About the video call, the messages, the HR complaint, the layoff. "He blamed you," she said when I finished. "It wasn't a question. I was his team lead. I had to document the incidents for HR. My report was part of what got him terminated. And you think he decided to get revenge by destroying your relationship and framing you for an affair with the woman he was obsessed with." When she said it out loud, it sounded almost too perfect, too neat. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Dmitry had been fascinated with Renata, probably still was. In his mind, I'd taken her from him somehow. And now I was getting married to someone else, living my life, while he was unemployed and alone. "Can you find him?" I asked. "We'll try. Do you have a last known address?" I didn't. But HR did. The address turned out to be old. Dmitry had moved. But his landlord remembered him and provided a forwarding address. The police found him 3 days later. He was living in a small apartment on the other side of the city. When they searched the place, they found everything. Printouts of Renata's social media profiles, photos of me taken from a distance, notes detailing my daily routine, and, most damning, the equipment used to install the cameras in my house. Detective Okonkwo called me with the news. "We got him. He's in custody. He's not talking, but we have enough physical evidence to charge him." I thanked her. Then I sat down and called Celeste. "They caught him," I said. "It was a former coworker, someone I barely knew. He was obsessed with Renata and blamed me when he lost his job." Celeste was quiet for a long moment. "So it really was all fake," she said finally. "The emails, everything. And you never," she trailed off. "I never cheated on you. I never would." She started crying. I could hear it through the phone. "I'm so sorry," she said. "I should have believed you. I should have trusted you. You had every reason to doubt. The evidence looked real. Anyone would have questioned it. But I'm supposed to be different. I'm supposed to know you. You do know me. You just got thrown into an impossible situation." She sniffled. "Can I come home?" "You're always welcome home. It's your home too." She was there within the hour. When she walked through the door, she stopped and looked at the spots where the cameras had been hidden. The police had removed them, but the memories remained. "He was watching us," she whispered. "All this time. He was. But it's over now." She fell into my arms. We stood there for a long time, holding each other, not speaking. The trial came 4 months later. Dmitry's lawyer tried to argue mental illness, diminished capacity, and maybe there was something to that. But the judge wasn't sympathetic. The planning involved, the sustained effort over weeks and months, suggested someone who knew exactly what he was doing. He got 5 years. Not enough, in my opinion, but something. Celeste and I postponed the wedding, not because of doubt, but because we needed time to heal, to rebuild the trust that had been shaken. We went to couples counseling, talked through everything, the old relationship with Renata, why I'd never mentioned it, how it felt to be suspected of something I hadn't done. I understand why you didn't tell me about her, Celeste said one night. It was over. It didn't seem relevant. It wasn't relevant until someone made it relevant. I should have asked more questions. Before we got engaged, about your past, would it have changed anything? She thought about it. No, I still would have said yes, but I would have been prepared. If this had happened and I'd already known, maybe I wouldn't have panicked. Or maybe you would have panicked more. She smiled slightly. Maybe. The wedding happened 8 months later, smaller than originally planned, just family and close friends. My brother was my best man. He'd been there through everything, never judging, always helping. In his speech, he didn't mention Dimitri or the cameras or the fake emails. He talked about the day I'd met Celeste, how I'd called him that night, giddy like a teenager, saying I just met the woman I was going to marry. He was right, my brother said, raising his glass. And he's never been more right about anything in his life. Celeste squeezed my hand under the table. That night, after the reception, we went home to the house where it had all happened. The cameras were gone. The memories were fading. What remained was just the two of us, starting our life together. Do you think you'll ever forget? She asked as we lay in bed. Forget what exactly? All of it. The doubt, the fear, the feeling that everything was falling apart. I considered the question. No, I don't think I'll forget, but I don't think I need to. It's part of our story now. The obstacle we overcame. That's a romantic way of looking at it. I'm a romantic guy. She laughed and kissed me. We'd made it through. A year after the wedding, I got a letter. No return address. I almost threw it away, my hand trembling slightly at the thought that it might be from Dimitri, but he was still in prison. The postmark was local. I opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, a printed article from a community newspaper. The headline read, "Local man launches security consulting firm to protect stalking victims." Below was a photo of Gordon Phelps, the IT guy who'd helped me trace the email intrusions. He'd quit the company a few months after my incident. I hadn't thought much of it. People left all the time. But apparently, my case had affected him more than I'd realized. He'd started his own company, specializing in detecting surveillance devices and tracing digital stalkers. The article mentioned my case as inspiration, though no names were used. At the bottom of the paper, someone had written in blue ink, "Thank you for coming to me that day. Your case changed my career." I found Gordon's new company online and gave him a call. "I got your letter," I said. "I'm glad something good came out of it. More than good. I've helped dozens of people since then. People who thought they were going crazy. People who knew something was wrong but couldn't prove it. That's incredible. It was all because you walked into my office that day. Most people would have given up. You kept pushing. I hadn't thought of it that way. To me, I'd just been desperate. But maybe desperation and determination looked the same from the outside. If you ever need anything," Gordon said, "reach out. I owe you." We still exchange Christmas cards. His company grew. He was featured in a national magazine last year, talking about the rise of technology-enabled stalking and how victims could protect themselves. Sometimes, out of nowhere, I think about Dimitri, wonder what goes through his mind in his cell, whether he feels remorse, whether he still thinks about Renata. I try not to dwell on it. Last month, Celeste and I found out we're expecting a girl, according to the ultrasound. We've already started arguing about names. She wants something classic. I want something unique. We'll probably compromise on something in the middle. The nursery will be in the room that used to be my home office, the same room where Dimitri had installed one of his cameras. We've repainted it, replaced the furniture. It doesn't feel like the same space anymore. My brother comes over every Sunday for dinner. He and Celeste still have their disagreements, but they've developed a grudging respect for each other. She admits he was there for me when it counted. He admits she's tougher than he gave her credit for. At our last dinner, he raised his glass in my direction. "To surviving the worst year of your life and coming out the other side." I clinked my glass against his. "To surviving," I agreed, "and to never taking anything for granted." Celeste rested her hand on her stomach, where our daughter was just starting to kick. "To the future," she added. We drank to that. The thing about crises is that you don't choose them. They choose you. They appear without warning and upend everything you thought you knew. But they also reveal things, who you really are, who the people around you really are. I learned that I could fight, that when everything pointed to my guilt, I could stand my ground and search for the truth. I learned that my brother, despite all our arguments over the years, would drop everything to help me. I learned that Celeste, despite her doubts, loved me enough to stay, to listen, to eventually believe. And I learned that evil can come from unexpected places. A quiet coworker you barely noticed, a grudge you never knew existed, a moment of rejection that festered into obsession. We can't control what others do to us. We can only control how we respond. I responded by rebuilding, by choosing trust over fear, by making a life with the woman I love, in the house where someone tried to destroy us. Every morning I wake up next to Celeste and remember how close I came to losing her. Not because of anything I did, but because of the story someone else tried to write for us. We rejected that story. We wrote our own. And now, with a baby on the way and years stretching out ahead of us, I know that whatever comes next, we'll face it together. The text stopped when Dimitri was arrested. The email stopped. The feeling of being watched faded over time. But sometimes late at night, I still check my phone, still half expect to see that unknown number pop up with another threat. Old habits die hard. The fear isn't as sharp as it used to be. It's more like a shadow, something that follows me but doesn't control me. Celeste understands. She has her own shadows. The memory of looking at those emails and believing, even for a moment, that our relationship was a lie. We talk about it. That's the key. We don't pretend it didn't happen. We don't sweep it under the rug and hope it stays buried. We acknowledge it, we process it, and then we move forward. That's what surviving looks like, I've learned. Not forgetting, not erasing, just continuing, one foot in front of the other, one day at a time, until the days turn into years and the years turn into a life, a real life, the one we were always meant to have. I still think about that first text sometimes, the one that started everything. Did you really think I'd let you marry her? This is just the beginning. He was right that it was the beginning, but not in the way he intended. It was the beginning of the hardest period of my life, but also the beginning of understanding what mattered, what was worth fighting for. I would do it all again if I had to. Every terrifying moment, every sleepless night, every fight with Celeste, every dead end in the investigation. Because on the other side of it all was this, our home, our family, our future, the one thing Dimitri could never take away, the one thing that was truly ours. Some nights when Celeste is asleep and the house is quiet, I stand at the window and look out at the street, the same view that Dimitri must have watched so many times, planning, waiting, hating. I wonder if he ever imagined this outcome, me, standing here, happy, him, locked away, forgotten. Probably not. People like him can't imagine a world where they don't win, where their plans fall apart, and the people they target go on to live full lives without them. But that's exactly what happened. And every day that I wake up next to my wife, in our home, with our daughter growing inside her, is a reminder that he failed. He wanted to take everything from me. He took nothing. I have Celeste. I have my brother. I have my family. I have the truth. That's more than enough.